Your Majesty, a report on the absence of Seanchan, raken, and raken thus far in this age. What was, what will be, and what is may yet be spoiled by this report, which contains major spoilers from Season 2, Episode 8 of This Turning of the Wheel of Time, and lore spoilers for Book 2 describing Last Turning. The Westlands' great victory against the Seanchan is indeed remarkable and inspiring, but on closer inspection my clerks and I are learning that we had some unexpected help from a very surprising place. Last turning, reptilian flying beasts called raken and raken were part of the Seanchan Empire's force that invaded the Westlands. The great question always was, how did they transport them across the Arith Ocean? It is too great a distance to reasonably expect them to fly, and transporting them by ship would be highly impractical. Near as we can tell now, it's quite simple. They didn't. Instead, they used the portal stone on Toman Head and obtained the beast directly from the original source, a mirror world. And which one might that be? Yes, you guessed it, Westeros. Or, more specifically for Last Turning, the old Valyrian Empire in Essos. You see, our ages don't always line up with theirs quite the same. The dragons of that world will occasionally have runts that cannot breathe fire and are usually much smaller. These runts are so underwhelming compared to historical descriptions that they are not considered dragons in that world. This turning, though, the Seanchan ran into an obstacle. The first Targaryen they were able to find was none other than Daenerys Stormborn. They convinced her to come to Falme with what she told them was the only beast she'd be willing to trade. They just assumed they could simply find others in Essos with dragon runts they were interested in selling. Unsurprisingly, though, the breaker of chains did not take a liking to an empire built on the backs of slaves. So, she tricked them. The beast she brought was not a fireless runt, but Rhaegal, one of her smaller true dragons, still young enough to be the size of raken, but old enough to breathe fire in combat with devastating effect. After being invited deep into Falme, she proceeded to wreak havoc, taking her dragon and as many Dakovali as she could free back with her to Essos. She reportedly said, "May your empress die screaming," before she attacked. No doubt this set the Seanchan well off balance, not only disrupting their plans but denying them troops they fully expected to have at their disposal. We know little about this Daenerys Targaryen beyond her reputation as a freer of slaves. She seems to be a wise ruler who I expect will go on to reign in justice and peace over whatever realm she governs. Your Majesty, this concludes our report. Forward the white line of Andor. My ladies and lords of the Westlands, rulers from sundry lands, if you find the reports my clerks and I produce to be helpful, as you labor in the service of your people, do honor us with your raised thumbs, patronage, and subscriptions. Until our next report.